My name is Kevin Carr. I am the founder and owner of Creating Ability in Chatfield, Minnesota. As a child, I was very creative with nothing to put it into, which can be a dangerous thing. So I was at a outdoor retailer show in Salt Lake City, and a gentleman wheeled into the booth in a chair and saw a seat that I had designed for a canoe company. And he said, "Who designed that seat?" It was me. We met, and he was trying to create a canoe seat for anyone with a disability. And the two of us worked together for a couple of years because he was struggling with it. And at the end of those 2 years, he said, "Wow, that's your design, take it and run." And that was 25 years ago. We've been running ever since. For someone who has an urge to create, the world of disability is a never-ending source of mechanical problems to be solved, mechanical challenges, to get people back into a sport in a way that they're used to, that can give them the independence that they're looking for. So in the beginning of this, the first project was a canoe seat. So it by nature put me into the water sports world. A lot of the water sports programs were using foam and duct tape, which can be a struggle. So the goal was to create things that were simple enough to be used by anyone and to process through quickly, because everyone feels like they're already the center of attention when they're in a chair or need any kind of assistance. So we wanted to be able to smooth that process. That got us involved with anyone who was doing programming across the country, especially adaptive adventures. I've been involved with adaptive adventures for all of the 25 years I've been doing this. So we go way back. And every time a program is using our equipment, it's another opportunity to hear what doesn't work or what could be better, which motivates us back into the shop to create and recreate in a way that makes it simple, makes everything accessible, and makes the person that's using the equipment feel completely natural in what they're doing and not overly burdened by stuff. We want people to forget that they have a disability for just that period of time. And also, for example, in kayaking, we love it when somebody walks by and says, "Wow, what are these empty wheelchairs and where are the people that belong with them?" Because they really can't tell that anyone on the water has anything special going on. So that's always been the goal, is to make everything disappear and to work with folks like Adaptive Adventures every chance we get, because that is the source of everything we do. I would be okay with being forgotten. I personally don't look for a great personal legacy from this. The legacy I would prefer is that folks are able to go out and do things without a second thought. So if there happens to be a Creating Ability sticker on something they're using and they say, "Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I'm glad somebody did that." That's gold to me. Most of the time I don't get to see that. That's why I love being out on the beach with programs, is because there's that hands-on chance to say, "Oh, wow, that really worked great. Look at the smile on that face." So, yeah, if there was any kind of legacy to this, I would love it to be that someone said, "At that moment, my life changed, and I became more independent and free, and felt some life come back into me." I had a particular moment many years ago where we were paddling on a lake in Wisconsin with a group from Madison. We would do that with them every year. And my daughter Jessie was in the kayak with me. We were in a tandem, and Mike, who was a friend of mine, was in the adjacent kayak. Mike has a C5-6 injury, uses a power chair. My daughter Jess really loved being on the water, wasn't so sure about what was under the water. So as we were paddling along and having a conversation, Jessie heard a sound coming from the kayak, and it freaked her out. She said, "Dad, what is that?" I said, "Don't worry, Mike's having a muscle spasm. One of his legs was spasming, so his foot was tapping the bottom of the boat." And my 12-year-old daughter, in all of her innocence, looked over at Mike and said, "Isn't that tough? That, your muscles work, but you can't control them?" And Mike looked at her and said, What's really tough isn't that. It's that everything in my life takes assistance of some kind. I can't do anything without help. I can't get up out of bed. I can't go to bed. I can't feed myself. I can't use the restroom. Everything in my life requires assistance. So this moment right here, this moment is the most independence I've felt since I fell off the roof. And that stops you cold in your tracks, because before that, it was something mechanical, right? Okay, it's hard to sit up. Okay, I can make you something. But to realize that someone post-injury has been looking for this moment and you're there to watch it happen was just stunning. And those kind of moments are what we live for. We've been doing this 25 years, so for the first dozen years or so, most of it was about paddle sports and about the paddler. In the middle of that, it became very important to me that we start working on helping the volunteer, the family member, whoever is assisting with getting the person at that time on the water. So I started working more on transfer devices. We've solved many of the mechanical issues with paddling, and probably the biggest impact was in transfers, because transferring into a kayak on the ground from a wheelchair is a very difficult transfer, especially on the way out. And volunteers, no matter how good they are, have a tendency to get injured while helping trying to lift someone out of a kayak. So once we designed the transfer system for the kayaks, it opened up the door to what more can we design that helps along those lines. So when you look in the world of adaptive sports, what are the really bad transfers? We've got hand cycles, which are virtually on the ground, sled hockey buckets, again, very low transfer, skis, anything that's difficult to get into or out of from a wheelchair. And in the process of doing that, came up with the sidestep. We have a portable version of that was the first thing to get out into the world to be used for that feedback that says, yeah, we've got this right. And it also ended up being very useful for transferring to the ground. So that ground to chair transfer, is usually about 20 inches. And people can do it, maybe shouldn't, because of the pressure it's putting on shoulders. And the sidestep really lets someone go from wheelchair height anywhere below wheelchair all the way down to the floor, which also makes it useful for falls. So transfers have been kind of the focus, the high focus for quite some time now, probably 10 years. On the paddling side, there are always improvements. Everybody knows that once you get something from me, there will be an improvement to it, because I have a hard time stopping a design and not improving it. The most recent is, if you see all the adaptive docks that are going in, when someone needs to use that dock, they also need the equipment in the kayak that stabilizes them on the water. And one of those pieces are outriggers, which are floats that go out the side of the boat, give the boat that level of stability that makes the person stable in the boat and ensures that they're not going to flip the boat over. Those don't fit in the chute of most of the adaptive launches. So recently, it's been a few years of work, I've created a folding arm for those outriggers that allow the outriggers that are at a width that stabilize the boat to be pulled in from the cockpit and be next to the boat, so that as the boat comes up into the ramp, you're able to pull those floats in and get up into the ramp where the transfer devices are. Same thing going out. It's been difficult to have a kayak come out of the chute and not have the outriggers already out. So the kayak can now stop at the end of that chute, deploy the outriggers, go out on the water, and be completely stable. So that's been the most recent one. But like I said before, there's a never-ending list of things to solve.